Oklahoma. I'm Amanda Simcoe in the beautiful Bosch Benchmark Kitchen inside Metro Appliances and More. I'm here with Chef JV, the Subkulture chef.
Howdy.
Howdy, who just fed us a salad in a mason jar. What did we think? That was delicious.
Well, you know, once you get past the mason jar, or actually if you really like the mason jar, you get to the salad. And
it was tasty. I liked that, you know, I liked that sesame oil in there in that dressing. It was delicious. And we paired that with a little prairie hop from our very own local Prairie Artisan Ales.
You always do such a great job when you find good pairings. I'll try to think of it, and then right before I know you have something, so I just go with it.
And it's just, it's hard to beat a really good beer.
No, it isn't, especially if it's good.
I
could take a little more.
Well, okay, so speaking of more, we have more food.
Yes, we wanted to, instead of doing 4 courses, we did 3, and we made the soup course a little bit heartier. We did a good chicken broth and a good vegetable stock, and I merged them. I did them separately and then merged them. And then at the very end, when I cook down mushrooms, there'll be a lot of liquid that comes out right before it starts to really saute, and I'll pour those off, and I'll use that as kind of a shot, as an infusion into the big pot. Kind of gives that umami taste to it, where it's really earthy and savory, and you can't pay for that. I don't think there is a powder that has that, but and my grandmother came in with that, so I'm not really the person.
I don't know. I think Robert has a mushroom powder. Actually, it is just ground up dried mushrooms.
You know, I wouldn't doubt it. I think he's got. I think they have everything you could possibly need over there.
I met a woman at the Tankersley show that is growing and drying and grinding shiitake mushrooms. So.
You know, I used to put those on the outside of filet when I was first getting into the culinary arts, working in hotels. There was a lot of mushroom crusted fillets, and it's really earthy, really rich, and if you got to take it off just before it burns, but it's good stuff.
It's like adding more meatiness to meat.
How can you do that?
I love it though. That's awesome. Okay, so talk to us about
we did a good stock.
Good stock.
A good stock. I've got chicken. We've got some really good carrots, cilantro, celery, onion, a little lemongrass, and I don't use. A lot of people like the whole lemongrass in there. I think you get the effect from it. It's kind of like onions. You can hold onion in your hand and smell onion all day. Lemongrass is the same thing to your pot. If you take and put in just a little bit when you strain it. But then I also have a little dumpling inside of it, and it's weird. Instead of an Asian dumpling, it's actually an Italian dumpling, but it works a little bit better with this because it's a little bit heavier. And then we also have a little bit of poached shrimp, and I'm going to put some as we set it up here in a minute. But the poached shrimp in there, we put it right at the very end and turned off the heat, so we use the residual heat. And
so you have some chicken and some shrimp and some mushroominess. And
we're going to put this together now.
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to take our shredded poached shrimp or chicken, and you know, instead of trying to pull out a small amount, which I don't think you can see here just a second, but we'll show you here in a minute. It's really rich, and instead of putting in a lot of any oils, I kept straining it, skimming, strain and skim, strain and skim. The key is to get your best clean product. And now some people say, well, how do you do that? Well, when it's boiling up, when it's first boiling, you take any sort of foam or any impurities, they all rise to the top. And you just keep pulling that away until it's all gone. And that'll leave you with such a great product. We're going to add just a little bit, because we always season at every level.
And this is the seasoning that we used.
Yes, we did before. It's a little bit of garlic, pepper, basil, oregano, and salt.
It smells so good.
And we're going to add just a little bit of fresh lime juice. And I know that stinks, right? We've got, and just for a little bit of heat, I know it sounds, but we're going to put a little bit of sambal oelek right at the top. You say, what was that? Sambal oelek. And just a little bit of cilantro. We never cut cilantro. People, they always say, what are you going to do? You never pronounce it right, so I can cut it. Well, I'm from Oklahoma, so I get to say it however I want. But we tear it because it releases the flavor so much better.
All those oils come out.
It just is so much better.
You know, we were visiting during the break, and you know, we've talked about it before on the show. You know, do you run into a lot of people, the people that don't like cilantro because they think it tastes like soap?
True. Well, you know, in a context, if you either cook it too long or you don't have any sort of heat to it all, you want it to where it just releases the oil when your hand. The same way you try to find out when you're in a store and you say, well, is this parsley? You kind of tear it and smell it. That's what you can do.
Well, they say that's a genetic thing, that they taste it differently than other people.
And that is sad.
That is really sad, because I love it.
I mean, soap always reminds me of saying like the wrong thing with my mother. But
yeah,
I eat it a lot.
Had a little ivory as a kid.
And then this is how it comes out at the very end. And I don't know if you guys can see it here, but you will in a minute.
Beautiful.
It's got a little bit smaller. It's about the half size of an Italian dumpling, which is in gnocchi. But I do like Chinese dumplings, but they just didn't fit for this one for the long play. And I think these are actually will have a little bit better taste for you here in just a little bit.
All right, well, I believe we've got a Riesling to pair with this. We've got a hungry audience. Audience, are you ready to try some chicken and shrimp and dumplings? All right, we're going to take a short break. Stick around for more Tasting Oklahoma with Chef JV.
Awesome.